Judy Ahrens, resident of Josephine County. I want to start by wishing everybody a happy new year, and I think we have a lot to be blessed with to be a new year. But my heart is so sad when I see some things going on in our county and regarding character and stuff, elected officials. I've been away in California for a couple of weeks. So I guess I would like to start by just talking about some resolutions. Are they important? And I think we all need them. We have some young teenagers out here, and maybe you're checking off their list too of what can I do better? How can I respect my parents? How can I work harder? Do what my parents say. There's so many things that we could all do better to have resolutions. Where do I get my values? Where do I get my moral compass? And so I'm just saying, how can we do better? And I think that's the goal. How can we do better in Josephine County? Well, we can first start, as somebody had mentioned, about character building. We have some people out here that represent the church, a big church, in fact, in the community. And character building is important. Well, where do we get our character building? Well, we can get it from a lot of places. I could start just on the secular. We start with George Washington, our founding fathers. They had great character. But then again, they were very, very, they practiced their Christianity. They practiced their God-loving principles. So therefore, I guess we can get our character building. If we have issues, and apparently very people here, we do have issues. All of us have issues. That we could get it from Proverbs and Psalms. And I would challenge each one of you. Maybe that would be a good year's resolution. And the kids out here, start with Psalms. Look in Proverbs. If we live our life that way, we'll have a good life. We'll get rid of some of the stuff that's going on, the turmoil that we seem to be facing, maybe the dark side of our lives. And how can we? What's another way we can do in our community? Well, I guess we could start as leaders. What could we contribute to this community? Well, instead of being disingenuous on some things, say we're going to do some things, let's really do them. We do have money to put the big book out back on our agenda and all the backups. We really have the money. And if we say we don't, I think those are just lame excuses. And I was brought up in a family where you check the excuses from the real excuses. And the nonsense, you separate from nonsense. And I had a great dad that was a great teacher in that department. Maybe we could have things like, how could we've had International Breastfeeding Tribute, but we've taken up 10 minutes or 5 minutes or whatever the meeting. Why don't we have things this coming year? If you want examples, we could have being good stewards of our grounds out here. I mean, the simple thing is trash picking up. I do it all the time. I brought in 3 big bags. Maybe we could all do, instead of stepping over trash, we could literally pick up trash. Wouldn't that be interesting to find an elected official going into one of the stores here and picking up trash in front of the citizens? And there's many other ways we could do that, but I think character building would be a good place to start. Thank you. Thank you.
Vivian Kirkpatrick-Pilger. Thank you. I had better eyes, so I've got it. There's going to be a lot of people in the room that are going to groan when I start with this, but I just want to say that nobody's perfect. And, going back to last summer, we had a recall for Cheryl Walker due to insufficient signatures by, I think it was by 19 in the end. It didn't go on the ballot. And during that time, I was one of the people collecting signatures, and I was intimidated a little bit by Ms. Walker as she walked down the street and had photographers following her taking pictures of me in my vehicle. And I don't know, it looked like they were pretty connected to you because the rest of the recallers said the same thing was happening to them. And then she argued with the recallers outside of one store. And then she, in her own time, she was down in Medford and she sideswiped the car. But do we care? Do we really care if she did that? I don't. That's her business. And Keith Heck has repeatedly stumbled in his words and called members of our community maggots, things like that, and said some pretty off-the-wall stuff, which we have probably all forgiven him for. And now we come to Mr. Hare, who has had an alleged auto alcohol issue last summer, I think it was, or the summer before, and now a prank while he was allegedly under the influence of alcohol. And if Mr. Hare, and I believe he's serious about it, is going to, if he thinks he has a problem, he needs to do something about it. Because we all voted for him, or he wouldn't be sitting there. I mean, not all voted for him, but the majority of people voted for him, so they had some faith in this guy that he can do the job. So we want him to do the job. And I just want to quote Romans 3:23, "For all have sinned and come short of the glory of God," all three of you, and certainly me. And certainly everyone in this audience, I'm sure. So let's have a little compassion there and not throw the guy out. You don't throw the baby out with bathwater. Just give him some clean water. Just give him, you'll get it. I mean, you got it. But it's like 1 strike, 2 strikes, 3 strikes, you're out. I mean, it's one more thing and, boy, you're in real trouble. So, but I appreciate that you took the office and that you do your homework and you know what you're doing and you know the people in all the places that, I don't know about lumber and things like that. And I'm glad that you're doing the job. So all the things that were done by everyone were done outside of the business hours. So except for Mr. Hack, who did some of them inside the business hours. But anyway, that's all I wanted to say is let's remember Romans 3:23. Thank you.
Yes, sir. I don't know your name. Please state your name for the record.
My name is Douglas Corley. I live here in Grants Pass on Drury Lane. I know that the county owns 30,000 acres, and I know that there's rare earth here. I don't know if you guys know it, but the Defense Department already put into their one agency as a buy order. As soon as this product becomes available, they will buy it. Now, if there's not a company that wants to mine it or help us, how come the county cannot make a private corporation and we can do a bond, I have a little money I can give and stuff, that we can do this. And we can also use the U.S. Bureau of Mines, like they did during World War II, when they mined the chrome here in Chrome Ridge and several other places in this county. I also know that we have barium out there on Elder Mountain. I've lived here, especially in Tacoma, off and on for many years. I noticed that I did say something to my stepbrother that's Homeland Security. Mark Munsfield, he was security manager for the Pacific Northwest. I don't know how this your geologist found out about it or if they already knew, but I know that this is a strategic metal. They want it. I know that once it starts mining, maybe Title 50, which is the National Security Act, might kick in. So all these people that don't want mining might be called something called terrorists. This is violent against the United States. This ain't it. We start a company here, it could benefit the county and other government agents, the bodies here in this county, not just for the law enforcement. I know about the law enforcement. I know about the corruption in this county. You forgot, I don't know, I'll remind you that I've been several times in prison from this county. I know what's happening here. I'm being told, clean it up, get this company going, get everything going, and the crime will leave this county. Thank you.
Does anyone else wish to speak? Okay, I'll bring it back to the board. Okay, we will go in reverse order of the items for approval on our administrative action calendar. Item 2C, which is the contract extension for the Fairgrounds manager. I will entertain a motion to approve I'll entertain a motion to approve the action item.
Madam Chair, I'd make such a motion to approve the administrative item number 2C, which is the contract extension for our fair manager, not to exceed 6 months.
And I'll second that.
Okay, any further discussion? I'd just like to say that Mary Groves has done really a fabulous job out there, and I think that over the next 6 months she'll do an awful lot more to make it a very stable and beneficial organization to our Josephine County. So
It's probably also appropriate to say that this is not a full-time contract. She's seen a reduction of her own asking, utilizing a tremendous number of volunteers. Commissioner Heck is the liaison who's overseeing that with the Fair Board. They've made incredible progress, and she's taken over and will continue with the help of the community, but only with the help of the community. You can't do it on your own.
yeah, she can't do it alone. Okay. Roll call.
Commissioner Hare?
Yes.
Commissioner Hare?
Yes.
Commissioner Walker?
Yes, motion carries. Item 2B, approval of order 2015-002 in the matter of the group health insurance coverage for non-union employees. This is for the opt-out clause in that contract, where the county typically pays $897 for the benefits. This would provide those who opt out because they have other insurance to be credited with $500 toward that.
And I would so move for approval of order 2015-002 in the matter of group health insurance coverage for non-union employees opt-out clause.
I'll second that, Madam Chair.
Any further discussion? Being none, roll call.
Commissioner Hare?
Yes.
Commissioner Heck?
Yes.
Commissioner Walker?
Yes, motion carries.
Why are they taking this
Thank
in
our
reverse order?
administrative assistant for powering through a cold. Staffing.
Why is 2A last?
Okay, administrative action item 2A, approval of 2015-001 in the matter of the appointment of the chair and the vice chair for the Board of County Commissioners for 2015.
And I would move for approval of order 2015-001 in the matter of appointment of chair, and that'd probably not be good for me.
No, not right now.
I rescind my motion.
We have to have a discussion about this. Typically, what's happened is that the board has transitioned from positions of chair down to commissioner. I think it's really important for the public, obviously this board understands it, that we all serve as equal representatives of the people here. We don't have districts in Josephine County, and there's no authority of our chair other than what's provided for in Ordinance 97-003. And when it's delegated from the board, which we often do to speak on behalf of issues that we all are in agreement on. So that's the authority and responsibility of the chair. I think, kind of in light of what my schedule is for the next year or so, given an executive position on the ONC board, and now the chair of the Public Lands Committee, I understand that the governor's task force on ONC lands will probably
What a
make
maneuver.
an aggressive approach at legislative proposals in the coming congressional session. I'm also on a position for the National Association of Counties Public Lands Committee. So I don't really see a need to move from the position that I'm in right now as commissioner. I would say that it would be up to you guys, being that you'll be here probably more consistently than I will with that schedule to figure out how you guys want to.
They discussed this outside of.
Chair.
Yeah.
I know that in the area of the timber issues, there's probably a handful of people that are very knowledgeable in regards to particularly the ONC issues in the forest lands, and Simon Hare, as our commissioner, is one of those, and serving on these various committees that he does, and for the organizations on the state and national level, it's going to be beneficial. And I think that we are going to see this year probably be one of the years we see more movement in Washington, D.C. on that issue, perhaps, than we have in the past. So that's going to be beneficial to us. So,
Do they look surprised here?
well,
Nobody's
I would like
surprised.
to nominate Commissioner Heck to be chair for 2015.
Oh, I'll second that one. No, sorry.
I have a motion.
I'm still here.
Okay. And Any further discussion? No? Roll call.
Commissioner Hare.
Yes.
Commissioner Heck.
Yeah.
Commissioner Walker.
Yes. Motion carries.
Go finish and close the meeting. Yeah, get off that easy.
Pardon me.
At what open public meeting did they discuss this?
That cold is passing around. Okay. Motion for vice chair.
And I would move for Commissioner Walker to be recognized as the vice chair of the Board of Commissioners.
I'll say that.
I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? No? Roll call.
Commissioner Hare.
Yes.
Commissioner Heck.
Yes.
Commissioner Walker.
Yes, motion carries. Do you wish for me to continue?
Sure.
This is why they saved it for last.
All right. Moving on to the administrative action, consent calendar, pardon me, administrative action consent calendar. Item 4A, we have minutes from the land use hearing, the Bridgestone hearing as of December the 1st.
Madam Chair, if we could use land use, I would appreciate it if we approve land use.
That's what I'm wondering. I thought we had changed this.
We need to get that consistent, but yes, land use hearing minutes should be approved, I think, at land use hearings.
Yeah, I think we need to remove that one.
We usually do. We have them. You haven't been staffing. But we'll pull those.
Yeah, that one needs one. As soon as I read that, I thought, we need to pull that one. Okay, next one is County Administrative Workshop. It's December the 4th, executive session on December 5th, general discussion December 9th, the County Administrative Workshop December 11th, general discussion December 16th, and executive session for December the 17th. Any discussion of any of those? No? Okay, item 4B, resolution 2015-001 in the matter of the reappointment to the Emergency Medical Services Board. And that is a reappointment, so that is not a new person.
Expires.
Yeah, it's good.
Reappointment.
Why is she running
All
the
right.
meeting?
Okay, before I take a motion to approve this consent calendar, I need to back up and have taken a motion to approve the order 2015-001 and the matter of the appointment of the chair and the vice chair for the Board of County Commissioners.
I'll make that motion, Madam Chair.
I'll second that, but I thought we already had that.
No,
You did the nomination.
We did
So
not.
we did
Oh,
that.
that's right.
Yeah, we did nominations, so, and it was my mistake, I forgot to do that before I went on, so I have a motion,
When
I have
first
a
you
motion and a
practice the
second.
chief.
Any further discussion? Okay, roll call please.
Commissioner Hare.
Yes.
Commissioner Heck.
Yes.
Commissioner Walker.
Yes, and motion carries on item 2A. Okay, I will now entertain a motion for the approval of the consent calendar, item 4A and B, with the
Yes, now the new
exception,
chair.
of the land use.
Yes. I will make that motion.
And I'll second that.
Any further discussion?
No.
Roll call please.
Commissioner Hare.
Yes.
Commissioner Heck.
Yes.
Commissioner Walker.
Yes, motion carries. Okay, do we have any other business that needs to come before the board this evening?
No, but I would like matters from commissioners, I just have some things to say, but I have no other.
No other business? Okay, no other business. Okay, we'll move on to matters from commissioners. Commissioner Hare.
I'm going to start out addressing the executive session concerns from Ms. Cassanelli. We've been actually, if I'm going to admit fault, we've been operating with a matters from commissioners element on executive sessions for quite some time. That's not news to her. I'm sure she'll go back and look at our agendas as they've been legally posted for several months, if not a year, on that issue and having that. I think usually we had a provision of where it was provided for statutorily under ORS 192.660, where that was given. I think our check in executive sessions for whether or not it meets the criteria for executive session under the law has been our legal counsel, which is always in our executive sessions, to make sure that we're on the right path. The provision for media to be involved, or to at least have access, approved media to the room, is that additional public check to make sure that we are not straying statutorily. There isn't necessarily enforcement, but there's the public awareness of the fact that if we did stray and were doing something behind closed doors that wasn't provided for under ORSs, that we would be called out into the light on that and have that out for discussion. So I think if there is an element of matters from commissioners that we need to refine, I think we need to do that. You could probably argue the fact that item number 3 under our executive session today listed merely potential litigation. I think that doesn't meet necessarily with the criteria of the laws, looking for specificity, if it's available, on what kind of litigation might be potentially out there. So we probably should have refined that in greater detail as well. And we've got new legal counsel, and that's something that we work on with them to develop that agenda, and we need to do a better job of that going forward so that the public is aware of whatever we can provide. They've been told about what we're discussing in our executive sessions. I issued a statement following the situation, the incident on December 5th. I'm going to let that stand for where I am on that position and that situation. It has been resolved with the parties, and as far as I'm concerned, it's in 2014. This is a new year. I appreciate Ms. Ahrens' comments about New Year's resolutions. There's an opportunity for clean slates, and I think everybody's due one, and myself included. So I plan to continue to serve Josephine County in the best of my ability. I was just representing, not formally anyhow, but Josephine County, Rough and Ready, the timber industry, on a federal forest management policy panel in Portland yesterday. It was an hour-and-a-half-long panel with a distinguished list of presenters. I spoke with on behalf of not just Josephine County and Rough and Ready, but representing the ONC Executive Board, the Public Lands Committee for AOC, Association of Oregon Counties, and the Governor's Task Force. So I come from, that was my position when I took office in 2011, and just recently on Monday. Timber issues, they're not the silver bullet for Josephine County, but we can't move away from something that we fundamentally do here. It is a bedrock of our community, has been for decades. It will continue to be, regardless of whether or not we address it at the local level, state, or federal level. Our forests are prone to wildfires and disease, and there's a management challenge that we have got to overcome one way or the other. And I think we're addressing it on so many multiple fronts. It's imperative that we have representation. My coined phrase, I didn't come up with it, but if you're not at the table, then you're on the menu. And the time to act on this issue is frankly now. I don't think, I've only been doing this job for a little over 4 years, but I will tell you at that Business Leadership Summit in Portland, there was hardly a panel that didn't reference the urban-rural divide. And in Oregon, that means there's got to be an understanding about how we manage our natural resources, both in a mining situation, but in a timber as well. I think most people are coming around to the idea that what we have done, which has been basically nothing on 93% of the federal lands in the last couple decades, has not worked for Oregonians, either in the rural areas or the metro areas. We've got to do better going forward. So there's a proposal in the governor's budget for $6 million to aid in collaborative efforts around the state to help move the pipeline of timber sales through federal agencies with broad coalitions and support. And I'm a champion of that effort, and will try to have that happen right here in Josephine County. We are looked at in a positive way when we have representation at these meetings. The governor is aware of our needs in Josephine County. He was instrumental in getting Rough and Ready reopened, retooled, and the ability to provide jobs for 70 people in that community is no small thing. It really means something like 2,000 jobs in the Portland metro area. So every single one of those reverberates throughout that community, not just Josephine County, but the Illinois Valley, especially 5 to 6 times. And that's really important to the Illinois Valley and the place that I hold dear. So I'm going to continue to do that in a more aggressive fashion. I think we're going to see positive reception in the Senate, where we haven't had it necessarily for a little while, on 1526, a House bill that was sponsored by 3 congressional delegates, Congressman Walden Schrader and DeFazio, and ultimately by Doc Hastings, who is no longer with us from Washington. We've got good support both in the House and the Senate. It'll be packaged as a jobs bill. It'll be putting people back to work in rural Oregon and rural parts of this country. Our governor is vice chair of the Western Governors Association right now. He'll be chair next year. This is one of his paramount agenda items that he plans to move forward in his tenure on that as a chair. So that's a powerful group of CEOs from Western states, and I hope to be a part of that conversation and shaping it and making sure that, really, frankly, Southern Oregon is different than a lot of other parts of the Cascades. We don't share as many issues with the east side of the state. We're kind of an anomaly down here in Jackson and Josephine County with how we manage forests different than the rest of the state. And we are often forgotten. If we are not at the table, we'll be left off. We'll be left off the menu. So that's not good. I think I addressed most of the issues that I wanted to talk about. I want to welcome Wally Hicks and Dave Daniels to the group of electeds here in Josephine County. Wally has represented Josephine County well for 2 terms in Oregon, and has just recently on Monday joined us as our legal counsel after a 20-year stint by Steve Rich. I wasn't here when he was vacating office, so I'd like to say a couple of words. It was a pleasure to serve with Steve. He was not without fault. People will always be able to throw stones, but I think he tried to steer the county as best possible in the right direction, and frankly kept us out of more litigation than anybody will probably ever know. Those things don't make the papers when litigation doesn't find its way to court. You don't hear about it. It just, and for a public's eye, it basically doesn't happen. And that doesn't just happen. That happens by good people, not just Steve Rich, but the good people in his legal office, Pat Ellis and Leah Harper and others that have helped out over the years. So in a fiscally tight county like Josephine County is and will continue to be, watching every dollar in a way that is both effective for the community, trying to get things done, and not put us at undue liability. That's huge. Addressing a group of freshman commissioners just here in November. It's never far from your mind as a commissioner that your whole job is to mitigate liability. You think about what you're doing, policies you implement, and does that further the goal of providing good customer service and not put you at greater liability? That's the goal. And Steve did that admirably for 2 decades. And appreciate his leadership that he's given us, and he's gone on to great things in other communities. So. Mr. and Madam Chair.
Well, I want to appreciate the comment by Ms. Cassanelli. There's certain things that you just take for granted because they've been there and you don't really pay attention to them. They're there. And I appreciate her bringing it up, pointing it out, and for her concern anyway, I want her to understand it. I will certainly bring that to the awareness of the legal counsel, and if it appears in the future, it will be there at their appointment, not because of an omission of observation on this end anyway. So I do appreciate the pointing it out.
All right. I think that we have made it through our agenda. Anyone have anything else you wish to say? No? Okay. I wish everyone a very happy New Year. We're just the first week into this new year, and we have a lot of good things coming up in the county, but we also have our challenges, and I would hope that you will all participate in the resolution of those. It can't be done by one person. It can't be done by just elected officials. It has to be a community effort. So volunteer, do what you can, and be a good citizen in whatever way your skills or talents lead you. And I would appreciate everyone being there for the community. We all have different skill levels and things that we can do, and not everyone can do it all, but certainly everybody can do something. So.
Yeah, I wanted to just mention a little bit about George F. Brown. She had the longest tenure as our clerk in Josephine County's history. She did a great job. Her husband, Mr. Brown, did exemplary things for Josephine County as our forester for a number of years. In fact, up until last year, when state statute no longer provided us the ability, in our land use hearings we had what was called the CRRR. CRR, rate of return. Cumulative rate of return had to do with setting whether or not marginal farming forest land qualified for an exemption, and provided other building opportunities. But he put that into effect in Josephine County, and it was approved by DLCD for a number of years. So they both leave an incredible legacy and have had big shoes to fill. Art's done a great job, and he worked under Georgette for a number of years before she retired. But she passed away this morning and survived by 2 daughters. And I don't know the details of the service, but I know that they'll be coming back home and providing that information shortly. The last thing that I wanted to talk about, I apologize, but it's under a time constraint, is that the Dimmick Tower will no longer be part of Josephine County's horizon by the end of this week. The final demo will be done over the weekend, provided that there aren't any hiccups, but that'll give public health the opportunity to not be staffed. There won't be people in there, and they'll be taking down those final walls this weekend. It's been a big project for the county. Been working on it probably since day one when I took office here. It been neglected for years from previous boards and county. And we took a bad thing and we're going to make it better. We've got a marketing plan that will be hopefully approved by this board by the end of the month. I've seen a draft and it looks really good. There's an opportunity for a revenue stream off of those 6.22 acres once we remove that blight. Nobody was willing to touch it even for $1 to give it away for free with a potential liability of well over $1 million. We removed that and we've got something to offer now. And so we're moving forward, and it hopefully will be a real positive thing in the future, a revenue stream for Josephine County, and looking forward to getting it back on the tax rolls and having it contribute rather than detract from our good community.
All right. No further comments? Okay. It is 4:02 p.m. and we are adjourned.